And here we are again, gathered together. So let's say hello to our online audience, right in that camera. Hi, hello, welcome. From the age of the pyramids, around 3000 BC, Egyptian society had a highly developed family life and religious beliefs in an afterlife. Living to 110 years old was considered the reward for a balanced and virtuous life. Aging was associated with illness and health beliefs centered on cleansing the body with ritual sweating, vomiting, and bowel cleansing. Yikes. The customary greeting was, "How do you sweat?" Ancient documents from this time period that were translated into English less than 100 years ago contains the earliest known written remedy for aging. Oh, who knew? Titled "The Book for Transforming an Old Man into a Youth of 20. In this book, there are recipes for a special ointment and directions for its use. Is this starting to sound familiar? It's a remover of wrinkles from the head, and when the flesh is smeared therewith, it becomes a beautifier of the skin, remover of all blemishes, all signs of age, of all weaknesses which are in the flesh. In the margin is a note written in informal Coptic script by the scribe drawing the hieroglyphs, found effective myriad of times. Another hieroglyphic symbol is a bent human figure resting on a staff. This is the Egyptian hieroglyph indicating old age or to grow old. It's the earliest known artistic depiction of an old person. This papyrus tells us unmistakably that since the beginning of recorded history, people have tried to diminish and minimize or avoid aging because of the diminishment of vitality and strength. The ambivalence regarding growing old is clear and echoes through history. We fear growing old and always have. We fight it, we resist it, we deny it. Won't happen to me. Well, maybe you, not me. We can't believe it's really going to happen. And though it is the alternative to death for a while, to some it is even more threatening. So this information is sourced from an article online I found in Psychology Today, and the author, Mark Williams. So that last line, to some it is even more threatening than death, really popped out at me. And I find it to be a true statement. We let fear get the best of us. Yale University has conducted studies showing that people who have positive attitudes towards aging are less likely to develop brain changes that are associated with Alzheimer's disease, and also makes it very likely that they will live a longer life by up to 8 years longer. I remember as a child sometimes being afraid of older people when they had a morose attitude. They didn't smile, or they seemed really unhappy, and sickness seemed to just overtake them and their attitude. And I think I was frightened because, is this what being old means? And then later in life as a young adult, I remember and I held on to wonderful encounters with older people who exemplified a youthful spirit, and they were beautiful. I always felt grateful for their wonderful example to me of how to live a good life, a happy life, no matter the challenges that one endures. A lovely example that always comes to my mind every now and then, when I was in high school, Catholic boarding high school, we had a librarian, Sister Claire. And she was the one nun that really stood out for me. She had this lovely, gentle, kind aura. And she had this giving energy. And she was a light, an example to me that of how one could be, no matter what age one was. To me, she was beautiful. And so she really showed me it's not the body, it's the spirit that we want to focus on, that we want to give our attention to. You are the light of the world. Do not be, hold on a second. So Jesus, we know, said this. And he meant at every age, every stage of the game. And young people need our example of what it means to live a positive, loving example as an older person. Jesus also said words to this effect. Do not be afraid of what happens to your body. You are not your body. We are timeless, changeless, ageless beings of God. So I remember as a young person, I heard older people say, I feel that I'm the same person now as when I was 16. You ever hear older people say that? And the first time I heard somebody say that, I'm like, really? Because I was 16. And I was like, wow, because you look ancient. But when I heard that a few times, I thought, so this thing is true. This godness, this spirit that lives in us. If that's to be true, that an 83 or 80 or 90 or 100-year-old person feels the same spirit they did that I'm feeling now at 16, I knew my faith in God was true because it's the same now as it always has been. That timeless, changeless, ageless spiritual nature that we are inherent to. And have you ever wondered how 20 years can go by and it seems just like yesterday your child was born and now you're walking them down the aisle and they're going to be married? It's like, how did that happen? And we want to give our heads a shake. What does that demonstrate? Doesn't it demonstrate the timelessness of now? It's like, it was just like yesterday, because guess what? It was now, then, and it is now. So it's like, that's our timeless, the characteristic of our spiritual nature. That's our timeless self. It makes sense, doesn't it, when you contemplate it? Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, agrees when she says, "Spirit has no age. It is eternal and unchanging. The soul is not old in the sense of it being full of years and decrepitude. The soul is ever unfolding God ideas, and these are unchangeable. The development of soul qualities causes the individual to be more mature in judgment and expression, and the soul, keeping in touch with that which is true, is refreshed and eager for life's experiences at whatever day or time of whatever year it happens to be." So I speak to you now as an elder. Guess what? I've gotten there. Yikes! I'm not 16 anymore, although I feel like it. I believe we must take care to honor and show great respect to the elders among us, because we elders are way showers. And the young among us here, they want to hear that. They want to know that. I mean, that's where they're headed. We are the ones who can ease the burdens of the younger ones with the light of our understanding, illumination, and wise ways. We elders need to honor ourselves. How do we do that? Let's stop buying into the culture that obsesses with youth only and the beauty of the body. Let's just stop error thought. That's what we learn in unity, isn't it? To let go of our mistaken beliefs and then create create an affirmation around a true belief and remind ourselves often of the truth. Charles Fillmore, when he started realizing that the collective consciousness of this old story was really affecting his belief system, he went to the mirror and promised himself, okay, it stops here. He looked in the mirror and he promised himself he would stop thinking like that. And he said he got great results from that healing treatment, and those healing treatments probably more than once. I'm sure it wasn't a one-time deal. And it helped him greatly. So again, let's accept the honor it is to live a long life. I believe we are all called to continue developing our potential until the day we make our transition. Hear, hear? Let's hear from Robert Brumet in his wonderful article in the Unity booklet you might have been given. It's called From Aging to Eldering. I think Alma needs one, if there's an extra one. We're not going to read from it right now. Okay, good. But definitely I'm going to go through it. And if you come to my class today, we're going to dive right into this article. So he says, eldering may seem like a new word, but the practice of eldering goes back several millennia. In tribal cultures and in early societies, the elders were seen as those who carried the traditional wisdom of the community. Elders were given the respect due to people who have been walking the hero journey for many decades, learning balance, humility, patience, and the many other virtues that we learn along the way. Elders are often the spiritual leaders of the community. Eldering is a perspective that sees aging in the final years of life as just another stage in development in our life experience. And as with every developmental stage, there are challenges and opportunities. Each stage of life has its own curriculum, and the final stage is no different. Earth University. That's where we're at. Eldering does not deny the changes that occur in our bodies, but accepts them. Perhaps some physical changes we're experiencing. Mental ailment may occur. And this is a time when we need to take even better care of ourselves. Perhaps we got away with not doing so much when we were young and neglected our bodies. And now, the body's going to say, you want to feel good? Spend time with me, listening and learning. So it's important to accept the changes and the weaknesses and the challenges that we may be enduring, but we don't identify with it. Got that? Do you understand the difference? So we accept it, but we don't identify. We don't say, this is what I am. We say, no, this is what I'm experiencing right now. Otherwise, we become that. And that's a road you don't want to go down. And so what I'm learning to do for myself is to welcome whatever change that appears in my body. Welcome it. So indigestion, welcome. What message do you have for me? I'm listening. I'm willing to learn. And this is how I'm tapping into my natural healing system. Instead of being upset with my body, I'm befriending my body. And that's a transition for me. That's a turning. So Stacy, thank you, Stacy, introduced me to a wonderful book that I cracked open the other day, and it's called The Secret Language of Your Body. And this is very helpful for doing the work that I'm speaking of welcoming and learning to love and heal our bodies. Highly recommend it. It's really nicely written and lots of helpful things in there. She uses imagination, and that's one of the powers that we celebrate as one of our 12 powers that we talk about in Unity. Imagination, and she uses a lot of imaginative qualities, using color, using all different kinds of visions and visuals to help us heal our bodies and our minds and whatever else needs healing, our attitudes, our emotions. I love what Robert Brummett says, that when someone asked him recently how old he was, he says, I have no idea how old I am, but my body is 80 years old. So Robert teaches us that eldering involves looking at our life in 4 directions: looking back, looking forward, looking outward, and looking inward. So looking back includes the process of harvesting our life experiences. Harvesting means collecting both the wheat and the weeds. The wheat represents our successes and contributions that we've made throughout our life and the way we've helped make the world a better place for everyone to live in. Each of us has wheat to harvest, no matter how small or large these accomplishments may be. We've done our part, and we need to look for those parts that we're proud of. Yet, the past is past, he says. We must release and let go of any attachment we may have to our successes, because we can get lost in that. I remember when, haven't we all heard the stories of the successes that are lived over and over and over again from football stars that are now, in retirement homes, and that's what they talk about. He says, release all that to stay in the now, because the past is past. The weeds represent our regrets and disappointments, our hurts. We need to look at these and practice our forgiveness. Again, we must let go of the past. And this isn't easy work, Robert says, but vital for our souls and the health of our bodies too. We may have many emotions trapped in our bodies that we need to release and let go for our full, vital health. Looking forward, this means accepting the inevitability of our death. We need to face our fear around that feeling perhaps of foreboding when we think of it, of the thought that I won't be here. And the thought of not being in our physical bodies anymore, this may bring up fear. So Martha Smock, in her lovely book, Fear Not, speaks these words of wisdom that I resonate with. The fear of death is overcome. If we are fearful of everything else, then death is no exception. The more we overcome little fears, the more we dare to live fully. The more we make every day a day in which we give of ourselves to life and to others, and the more we are able to cope with the fear of death. We find life so good that we know whatever the future may hold will be good also. In line with looking forward is taking care of our will, our power of attorney, burial or cremation arrangements, and making sure loved ones have the critical information they need after we pass on. Looking outward, now this is about involving ourselves in community and consciously developing a sense of community. So an old thought system we may have been reared in is believing that children are responsible for taking care of their parents' every need. We know now that this is neither healthy nor desirable. It can get into codependence and enabling when taken to an extreme. And adult children need to follow their own lives and their dreams, and they may need to move away. And that may take them away from their parents. And those that do care for their parents physically can still not feel that deep well of loneliness that the parent might carry if they haven't expanded and stayed connected to their community. And when it all comes down to it, even within the family, we're not responsible for each other's life. We're responsible for our own life. And that's the example that we want to set for those in our family. This is how you do it. Follow me. So I have a fine example of someone who does this. Shirley is creating community where she's at. And we all know that, it's not easy to make a big transition such as you made, Shirley, when you went to the retirement residence. It's not an easy thing to do. A lot of changes, a lot of new people. So Shirley has taken it upon herself to create a reading and discussion circle where she lives with the folks there, and she reads to them out of Chicken Soup for the Soul, various editions of it. One was for Making a Better World. Another one was, what was the second one?
Laughter is the best medicine.
Laughter is the best medicine. Now, we all need to hear that, right? And especially if we are feeling lonely or, needing extra support, which a lot of older people need extra support, and get that laughter going. And then you have a discussion about it and probably crack them up with your jokes, too. So I just want to show how choices, your power of choice, is creating a healthy community where you live, and you aren't as lonely as you would be if you weren't doing that, are you?
Not at all.
Yeah, that's right, making new friends. So kudos to you, because, we see people who make different choices and suffer because of it. So this is what Robert Brummett is talking about. And then he talks about the fourth direction, which is looking inward. Robert says, perhaps the most essential aspect of eldering is looking inward, releasing former identifications, those of the body, those of our work, those of whatever capacities we were in as a younger person. Letting go of those identifications allow you to look more deeply into your soul. You can now know yourself more deeply and authentically than ever before. This experience is challenging. It's an opportunity, though, to find your true nature. So as you transition from role to soul, you can say, I am that I am, and welcome home. My friend Phil Moore resonates with this. And when he retired from his director's role at Upland Hill School in Michigan, he said he wasn't retiring, he was rewiring. So he was busy. So let's rewire old beliefs, like the erroneous belief that when the body becomes weaker, we become useless. There's no rocking chair for us. Those old beliefs need to be eradicated. And guess what? Each one of you are eradicators. Marianne Williamson wrote an amazing book called The Age of Miracles, Embracing the New Midlife. In her book, Marianne said something that really resonated with me. She says, I may have had shapely arms when I was young, but I didn't know what to do with them. And guess what? They don't look so fine and toned and shapely anymore, but I know what to do with them. And look at her running for the President of the United States of America. Go, woman. And I read one of her last emails, and she wrote, like, why am I running for the United States presidency? Because I am saying the things that need to be said. So she's the voice. The point is not outcome. What a fine example of fearless living. Jane Fonda thinks that life gets better with age. So I picked up a People's Magazine not so long ago when I was starting to think about this talk. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll pick this up and see what she has to say. You know, she's a very vulnerable, authentic person. She doesn't mind sharing, right? The whole article about her attitude resonates with our unity principles of creating a proactive, positive, and empowering thought system in order to live a powerful, ageless life. To not buy into the Western culture of youth adoration. We have always known that's a fantasy. Even when we were young, we knew that was a bubble and it would burst. We just hoped it wouldn't be now. Jane brings up a very good point. She says, you know, being young is really hard. Don't let anyone kid you. That's true. It's not easy. She wishes when she was young that someone had whispered in her ear, keep going. Don't give up. It'll get better. Because there's some hard times, right, that we go through. Again, young people need that kind of encouragement from their elders. Be that. Jane Fonda says, one thing I've learned is that you can have incredible experiences, but it won't make you necessarily a smart or wise person. You have to look intentionally at your life and try to understand what role that you played in it not working. And so what were the mistakes that you made? So this is Robert Brummett's looking back, right? What mistakes do you keep making? Let's look at those. She said, I spent a lot of time like a canoe with no paddle being carried in the current. As I got older, I learned I'm going to put an oar in the water and steer. Yeah, let's steer. Let's steer our canoe at all ages. There is, like I said, no pasture. There's no field of uselessness for us. We are on the move, learning more than ever, leading more than before. We are an instrumental part of society, needed and wanted and valued. And it starts with ourselves, valuing ourselves, telling ourselves the truth. So this is God's clarion call to all of you, elders. Listen, step up and take your stand. Be the light that Jesus has called you to be. Be the light that you are. Shine on, sisters and brothers. Keep on keeping on being a love example every day of your life, right till the very last day of your life. So let's take these thoughts into meditation.
Remember who I am. Let
Now I am going to lead you through the welcoming prayer, so continue to stay in your meditative state, breathing deeply, welcoming God into your heart. Breathe in these words, make them your own. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I welcome everything that comes to me. It's for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, my feelings, all persons, all conditions. Now I breathe out. I let go of my desire for power and control. I let go, breathing out. I let go of my desire for affection, esteem, approval, and pleasure. Breathing out, I let go of my desire for survival, for security. I let go of my desire to change any situation, any condition. I let go of my desire to change any person or even myself. Breathing in, I open. I open to the love of God. I open to the presence of God. I open to God's action within me. And so it is, amen, as I take this thought, this prayer, this idea of letting go and releasing and opening into the silence for a minute. Just be with it. And coming back to this space, this time, this now moment. Look at what's in your heart and say thank you. Amen. And so it is.
Donations. Our heartfelt thanks for your continuous support. We've created many easy ways to donate, which you can find on our website.
And we have a love offering box right over here by the door. with envelopes and pens where you can drop in your tithes or your love offerings as you leave the chapel. Please remember to print your full name on the envelope so that you can get your tax receipt. And again, thank you and bless you for your loving and generous support.
And now we invite you to stand up and let's open our hearts and minds in gratitude as we close by speaking out loud or silently to ourselves our love offering prayer, followed by the peace song and closing with the prayer for protection. Divine love in me and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us.
I am light.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am love.
The love, the power of God protects us.
I am power.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am presence.
Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Thank you for joining us today.